My name is Marcella. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would share with you my new TBR game and pick a TBR for September. So I have used some sort of a game to pick my TBR for a couple of years now, and I thought with the start of this new channel I would also make a new game. I will use this game, which I think in English is called the Game of Goose, to pick the books that I'm gonna read each month. I should probably have a few disclaimers before I start. One is that you shouldn't get your hopes up. If you look up TBR games on YouTube, you will find so many amazing creations, people who have gone above and beyond with their TBR games, you know, making their own designs and have complicated rules, and this is not going to be that. It's going to be pretty straightforward. The second one is that I use a TBR game mostly just for fun. I like picking books with different prompts. I would want to be a mood reader, but I am really not. You know, if I just had to pick a book randomly off my shelf, I'd be really struggling because I would not know what to do. So if I have someone who, you know, narrows the choice down, I do way better, even if that person who narrows the choices is myself. The other thing I want to achieve with this game is to maintain my TBR. I have my TBR on this shelf behind me. It is usually around 50 books, and I've noticed that that is the, you know, sweet spot for me, between having enough choice but not feeling overwhelmed by the number of books I have. I have had TBRs, you know, up to like 200, 300 books, and that didn't work for me at all. So I worked to bring it down to around 50, and I like that number and I wanted to maintain it. So rather than just having prompts to read, I also have prompts for books to buy in this TBR game. Yeah, and I'll show you how all that works in a minute. Yeah, so I think that's all I had to say before we start into the game. So I'm gonna cut away to the board now and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here's the game. I'm sorry for the awkward camera angle. This is the best that I could do with my equipment. And yeah, so you have the board here. And in the original game, what you do is you roll the die and then you just go around the board until you're finished, and you know, the first one at the end is the winner. And then you have like a few tiles where there's some special things happening, which is what I will do in this game as well. So I thought I would just go around and then show you if there's anything different happening. So the number tiles that you see here, just those regular yellow ones, those are all gonna be reading prompts, which I have in this tin right here. When you get on one of the goose tiles, which are here, 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 you know, you can see them all around the board, that would be for a book to buy, and then those prompts are in the cell cup right here. And then there's a few special tiles as well, and those are all, you know, different extra challenges in the game. So I thought I would mention those last ones. So you have the bridge right here, and if I land on that, that means I'm not going to buy any books that month, but use the prompts to pick books from the library. Then around here you have the in, and that would be that I combine 2 prompts to pick 1 book. You also have the dice, which are here and here, and if I land on that, that means I have an extra roll. There is the well, and if I land on that, I will pick a prompt but use it for a reread. We have the thorn bushes, and that would be pick a prompt but add 2 books to your TBR with the same prompt. Then we get to Gayl. For that I would have to add to this month's TBR all the unfinished books from last month's TBR, and if there's more than 2, I would have to read 2 of those before I get to the rest of the books for that month. And then the last special one is this death or dying one, and for that I'm gonna have to unhaul books, and I think I will do like the number of books of both last month. That will be the number of books I unhaul. So those were all the special spaces, and in the original game you have to get exactly to the end. So if you're here and you throw 5, then you would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have to land exactly on the end, which means I could go back to this card, and if I go back to this card, that doesn't mean I have to unhaul another number of books, but that means I die in the game and have to start again. So that's the basic setup of the game. I will roll 10 rolls each month. That means on average I would get about 7 books to read and 3 books to buy, which works really well for me. You'd be thinking, why would you have 7 books to read and then 3 books to buy? That would, make your TBR go down. But, I might not read all 7 books, and I might buy a few more books. It works out in the end. So for September I have 2 book clubs I'm participating in. So if I could incorporate those in September's TBR, that would be great. The first one is Olga Dies Dreaming by Xochitl Gonzales, which is a book I'm reading for a summer book club I'm part of. And the next one is A Still Life by Winman, which we are reading for the Instagram book club I'm participating in. So yeah, here we go. Let's start the first rolls. Number 2. 1, 2. Which is recently acquired. For recently acquired, I could have picked both my book club picks because I just got them. And I went for Olga Dies Dreaming by Xochitl Gonzales. I'm going in this book pretty blindly. I know it is set in New York. It has some Puerto Rican connections. I think it might be set around the time of a Puerto Rican hurricane, but that's as much as I know about it. So yeah, gonna read that. Roll number 2. another reading prompt, which is a book with illustrations. And then for a book with illustrations, I didn't have any obvious picks because I don't have any graphic novels or picture books on my TBR at the moment. I do have Gathering Moss by Kimmerer, which has a few of those plant illustrations scattered throughout, so that will work, and it's also a good pick for Shorty September. That is a book to buy, so I can pick from here a book from my wish list, non-fiction. Roll number 4. It's a book from Africa. So for a book from Africa, I didn't have that many options, I'm afraid, but I did find one, which is The Memory of Love by Aminatta Forna, who is an author who is half Sierra Leonean and half Scottish, and this book is also set in Sierra Leone. It's another book I don't know that much about, other than it is set in Sierra Leone, and I have read Happiness by this author and I really like this one, so that's why I picked this one up. Rule number 5. Another book to buy, a Storygraph recommendation fiction. So this book buying prompt probably needs a little more explanation. So on the Storygraph you have a section where you can fill in like a sort of survey of things you like in a book, and then it would give you recommendations. So I'm gonna look through that and see what it would recommend me in the way of fiction books, and buy a book from that. Rule number 6. Which is historical fiction. For historical fiction, I could fit my next book club book, Still Life by Sarah Winman. It is set in Italy in, I think, just after World War II, or during, 1944. Again, I've heard so many people talk about this book, but for some reason I haven't retained what this book is actually about. But we'll find out in September. Rule number 7. Is reread a book from the last 12 months. And then for a reread from the last 12 months, I wanted to find some books for Shorty September as well, so I picked Minor Detail, which I've read September last year actually, so almost a year ago. This is a book that is set in Palestine. This is a Palestinian author, and it is sort of set split exactly down the middle. The first half is set in 1949 in Palestine, and then the second half is set in modern times, and you see how those two periods connect. This is a book I really loved reading the first time around, and I'm excited to read it again. Rule number 8. Is by an illustrated book. Rule number 9. is Emotional, which is a storygraph prompt. So Emotional is one of those prompts where I can use storygraph. They have an option to sort books on depending on moods, like emotional, happy, reflective, tense. There's a few of those. So yeah, that's a way to like sort through my TBR. And for this one I picked Corregidora by Gayl Jones, which would also work for Shorty September. I think this is not only going to be emotional, but pretty devastating. And then the last roll, number 10, The Well, which is use a reread for the next prompt. And that is another storygraph prompt, reflective. And for the last roll I got on the well space, which was use a reread for the prompt. The prompt was reflective, and that is probably my most read mood on storygraph, so pretty easy to pick one for that. I picked another one that would work really well for Shorty September, because this book is 95 pages. I've read this a couple of years ago. I can't remember what it was about, but I remember being really impressed by Conan Jones's writing. He writes really short fiction. I remembered it being really, stripped down to the bare minimums, but still being really impactful. So looking forward to reading this one. So here we have my September TBR. It has my book club reads, and it has some options for Shorty September. So yeah, pretty good stack, I think. Let me know what you're reading for September. Is there any books you're excited about? Is there any books on here that you've loved? Let me know, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye bye.